All right, welcome to Premier League Week 2. I'm MrFickles, and it is my pleasure to be joined here today by the one and only Chris Ho. How are you doing, man?
How are we doing? Good to be here.
So it's fun to see you again. I don't think we've probably chatted by voice since Terra Mysticon last year. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think so. It's good to see you. It's good
Yeah.
to be back in the mix.
Throw your weight around a little bit. So we're in week 2. Week 1, I wasn't able to watch live, but Eric Olafson won week 1, so he's at 6 points. FireX and Ondas tied for second, so they're on 2 points each. Rondo Rice got fourth in that one, and Matt the Lesser was on a bye. So that's our situation. And this is Rondo Rice's home game, so I expect that, given his sort of rough start last week, he's gonna have some vigorous and vociferous crowd support here. I think he's gonna
Ama
make a run at this.
Amazing. Well, no, I'm so, hi to everyone watching. Excited to be here. I do want to apologize in advance for I'm going to be you can take me along for the ride and learning some of these fan factions here because maybe the strategic input that I give is going to be a little less than it normally would be. But hopefully we can converse with the chat and get some good stuff going and figure out what these things do. So actually, maybe that's a good place to start. Maybe Fickles, you can take us through kind of like what the setup is, and then we can discover a little bit about what these fan factions aim to do.
Yeah. So, could you actually just briefly talk about the setup, and then I'll talk about the fan factions themselves. I'm just gonna get the link to the stream posted in a couple places.
Yeah, beautiful. Happy to do it. Cool. So setup. Let's look at the track first. TPs in six, temples in five. Temples in five being lots of coins for priests to the cult track, and that's very there's like a lot of congruence there because there's double air, double earth track cult rewards, and so lots of advantages for going in and doing some earth cult and some air cult stuff. But big buildings in four and digs in three, which is always quite interesting as well. Swarmlings can make that town in two, which is usually not a factor. I have no idea if prospectors, Chashtala, or Genie can also do it. We'll get Pickles' input here in a second. And then we got TPs early. One of the one thing that Pickles was just talking to me about was that prospectors like to dig with coins, and so throw up early TPs, and so that might be an interesting start there. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
one cool thing too that I'm just seeing here is the scrolls that are in. We're missing dwelling scoring, but we've got ship scoring, big building scoring, TP scoring, and generally speaking, kind of the past tiles that you want to start with, right, are the spade, not in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Priest, which is there, two workers, which is there, worker power, which is there. But when you kind of look at call it the premium pass styles early, you got three of them, which is that worker power, priest, and two workers there. And
Mm-hmm.
so maybe prospectors actually opens on the TP tile, and does like one of these TP openings, kind of like that nomad one. Again, I don't really know how they work
Yeah.
exactly, but I'm just kind of looking at that right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So often if you take a look, so 4 coins is a golden spade for them. So they don't get normal spades; they use golden spades, which means they cannot score in the dig round. Any normal spade that they get turns into a priest. Um, but what that means is they actually they just love having tons and tons of cash on hand. So they're a faction that likes to start on the 6 coin scroll in round one, because if you think about it, that's a dig and a half for them. So like the other small thing there is that each golden spade, so again using coins to dig, generates 1 power and 1 point. So there's a little bit of like when you do that, it gives you that influx of power along the way. The other thing is they start with maybe I'll scroll down here for a second. My layout, forgive me on the stream, everyone. My layout will make more sense when the game starts. But so they start with 3 steps on Earth, which is kind of odd. And so we see double Earth rewards here. There are a lot of coins in this game, so this is really good for prospectors in the sense that they start up on Earth, that round 3 influx in coins, and then the coins they get back in round 5 from Priest to Cult looks good. The dig scroll is not in, and the dwelling scroll, which has some money on it, but those aren't that big a deal, and it probably hurts other people more than them for the dig scroll not to be in. It's good for them too, but I think it probably hurts some of these other factions a little bit more. That said, we've got digs off the Cult round 1 and round 2, so that helps offset the fact that we don't have the dig scroll in the game. It's also interesting, Chash Dala start with a step on Earth and a step on Air, so those are the 2 Cult rewards that we have doubled up, so they definitely could be looking at a culty game. Chris, if you're not familiar with Chash Dala, those are the parrots, and they have this little extra track in the bottom right that they can just pay. It's like this little extra economic track that they can pay to go up. And the first thing that's really significant that you'll notice is they have a base 2 coin income. I don't know if you see that little hand with the 2 coins in the bottom right. So they start with that extra 2 coin income. So it's almost like they have an economic favor to start. And then any round where they maybe they can't get digs or they're not able to invest their resources efficiently, they can spend 2 workers, 2 coins to move their marker up that track and sort of unlock the next one. So the first time they move up, they will also unlock an extra worker production every round and get a point. And if they do it again, they'll also unlock another 2 coin production and get a couple extra points. So they have this extra side thing to help boost economy if they kind of get stuck. The downside of this a little bit is they cannot increase digs. They have no way to increase digs, which is sort of a bummer. But I guess I just, increasing digs is one of the most fun things to do in TM, so that always makes me a wee bit sad.
I agree.
Not that I do it every game or anything, but it's just like a lot of my most joyous TM experiences are games in which I'm increasing digging. And then the other thing with them, now, we do have a big building scroll in. We don't have a big building round till round 4, so we'll see if we see Chash Dala's stronghold early or not, but probably they'll wait. But basically it lets them use coins for taking power actions, so it's kind of interesting. Like if you can, even if you don't have the power to take a power action, you can just pay coins to do it. I'm not 100% sure how significant that is. I've not played them before. I've only played one maybe 2 fan faction games ever. And I think prospectors.
I'm in the exact same camp as you. I played one fan faction game where I played a faction called Treasurers, which was red, and I didn't know what to do. That was all that I did. Paying coins for power. Who can pay coins for power? Sorry.
So the Chash Dala stronghold lets them use coins to take power actions, I believe.
And that just seems so punishing. That's like paying double, right?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I think it gives you some flexibility. But yeah, it is kind of like that. I should probably turn on tooltips so that I can read the rules of the stuff. So let me see if I even got that right. This is like, so we should.
This is so pathetic for the people tuning in.
We should apologize because had we known the settings in advance, ChristopherHo would have replaced ourselves probably for casting. But it's like you don't know until the time comes what the settings are going to be. So apologies to everyone. We'll do our best. Hopefully, we'll make up for it with just general energy, a little bit of verve. So yeah,
Well, I guess one of the cool things, though, honestly, is that the audience can kind of like play along with us and learn a little bit as
yeah,
we kind of explore, right, the game space, which is kind of interesting. And
yeah,
we know all the people in the crowd, right?
yeah.
So hey Ghostly, hey Super, hey Zarita, like give us some slack. We can
Yeah. I
we,
think
we can
I
shout it out.
yeah, of course we're not going to get to the level of depth we would typically be able to get to, partly because we'll be like trying to figure out how the factions work. But so we are on fjords. Um, okay, we're on fjords and we have two pairs of color neighbors, which is kind of interesting. I think genie are quite difficult here because fjords is basically designed. It was designed for original base factions to be balanced on this map,
Yeah.
and it basically is constructed for fakirs to be able to fly around and for nomad stronghold to cut through large landmass to get to other yellows. And genie
Yeah.
can do neither of those and starts on
Yeah.
only two spots. So I think that's why genie are partly why genie are seen as the 40 here.
Yeah.
Um, and in case you're not aware, Chris, they choose which cult they start with two steps on, and then they use these little tokens, these genie bottles. That's not the right term, I don't think. Genie lamps. They must be lamps. And you move and you use it to switch your token on two of the cults.
Oh, interesting.
So what they're
And you
gonna
can
do
do
is
that
they're gonna go
if
up
you can do that
air.
any time though. It does that actually seems very powerful in a double stacked cult situation though.
Yeah, yeah. So they're gonna go up air, then they're gonna flip that to earth, sit on that, flip it to back to air. All right, we have a game.
Oh, fast auction. I like it.
All right. So how are we looking? Okay, I think the layout makes sense now. All right, we'll run with it. Um, lamps. Thank you, Super Jarny. Yeah, genie
Lamp. Okay.
bottles didn't sound right. um,
Actually, Eric put it onto Earth here first rather than air. Interesting.
really?
Why would that be? Does anyone
Ah,
who's played Genie?
okay.
Why would
So
that? Is
so
it because he's
hold
trying
on.
to skip?
Let me pose a theory here. So, well, that's interesting. So, unless he. Okay, so one idea would be if you think you're not going to start on Priest, then you could. Because someone else is going to beat you to the three spot on air. What you could do is take Priest and put it to Earth and then move to air so that you get
Hmm.
your three steps on Earth and then you move over to air and then you move back to Earth and then back to air. So my guess is that this means he's not taking Priest and then he's not gonna start on the Priest scroll. At least this would make it make sense to me is if he doesn't
I
start on
guess
the Priest scroll.
I guess the actual other thing too is if you have to stack it first, Earth 2 is just better than Air 2, right? Uh, well, maybe not though. Well, I guess maybe that's what he's signaling. We can say he's signaling Earth 2,
It could
right? Because
be.
everything else would remain equal.
Yeah, yeah, it could be. Although if he's gonna start on, I'd be curious. I'll be curious what his starting scroll is. So genie like priest the cult because when they stronghold, they score a point for every priest they have on the cult when they pass.
Oh, that would be
So
so tempting here with all
yeah,
the coins
yeah,
for Priest to default as well. Maybe
yeah.
he opens Priest here on the four tile in the four spot.
I would have thought he would. But so I guess it's that he's gonna start on that, and then maybe he'll. Yeah, no, I think he should, unless I'm missing something. I don't see. I mean, another option is to temple for them, I guess. Um,
Yeah. Again, I don't. I feel like I'm learning the game here.
yeah,
It's too funny. So okay, let's look at this for a second. So eh, Rondo is trying to figure out is landscapes on
no landscapes.
and no extra scoring, and Rondo here is going to, he's probably thinking about F7 or B1, right? Or I3, I guess. I3 is actually really nice for Swarmlings here too.
Yeah.
I like I3 a lot.
I3 I think is a pretty safe call. It also lets you connect.
Yeah.
Um, I
You
would
can,
think I3 actually.
yeah. I like I3 here quite a bit. I3 is very, very nice here.
And then what you do is right, you get one town cutting down from E4, one town along the bottom, and then you
Yeah.
can find a third town either F1 to I1 or if you want to go up to the northwest corner, but and then all of that can connect. So you have this option, right, of
Yeah.
even competing on network depending on how things go. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
but you can see it like for Genie here, like some of the challenge, and I guess we'll see where the second brown placements. But like, so Genie are gonna dig, try to, they'll take E5, need a bridge to C, and then dig C4, and then dig B5, right? Like that's a lot of work and not getting any native yellows. And then from
Yeah.
E7, like if you have the like Nomad Stronghold, sandstorming D4 is a really common one, and then you cut through to
Yep.
some really efficient building. But from here, they're in a tricky spot, and again, this is going to be pretty telling. Seeing where Matt the Lesser chooses to go here, it's a pretty big decision actually.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Swarmlings did go F7.
He did go
Okay,
F7, yeah.
so
And so that just opens G7 is quite interesting now, right,
did,
for prospectors.
does that mean Swarmlings want to first move double dig E8?
I don't know. I
Because
mean,
that would make this make sense to me. Um, right? Because otherwise, green's gonna take E8 pretty quickly. And
everyone wants E8. Even E8 is really good for Genie too. Funny enough.
okay, this is interesting. So this puts a lot of pressure on Swarmlings now because they want to double dig E8, but if they do that, prospectors might cut them, take G8 from them. But maybe they don't care so much because they'll have D5 sitting for them. So they're
Yeah.
definitely not gonna do. Okay, fair enough. I mean,
Oh, and
maybe it's just
there goes
worth
the
it.
worker power for worker. They're giving Swarmlings the big building
Oh.
now.
Oh wow, interesting. And Chosh took worker power. Oh yeah, because that denies Swarmlings. That's a nice move by Ondas, right? Because he's saying, "Hey, if you're gonna take E8 from me, I'm gonna make it really painful for you."
Yeah. Very painful.
So I like
Because
that.
This is a great gambit by Ondas. Very, very, very bright. Because I think Swarmlings in their mind here never believe they get big building tile in the two seed. And just getting it here is quite powerful. Um, and maybe good enough to just change plans. So Rondo with the most thinking time here, pretty naturally, actually, right? In
Yeah.
terms of the position he's been put in.
Oh wow,
Oh,
he's really committed to this double dig line.
wow. I don't know.
Wow.
What do you think about that? That's just so
Well,
I'm skeptical of this.
so this is partly why F7 to me is a tricky starting place as a decision, which is it you're really you're narrowing your options a lot, and so he felt forced to take that because he's on that hex,
Yeah,
right? And now he
and
can't
Ondas
do.
in the chat saying awesome. Ondas in the chat says awesome, and Rondo saying sorry. And
Well,
now Eric has got a, or not sorry, Eric, Matt has a decision I think he didn't think he was going to have, right?
yeah, both of those are really so. Both of the, I mean, he's got all kinds of options that he likes the look of. So it's one of those good problems, as they say in The Wire. Um, but okay. So he takes big building for the extra worker because prospectors, by the way, start with one less worker. So that's something to be
Yeah.
aware of. I looked that up today. Um, and he first move digs G5. Interesting. Because he knows Swarmlings are going to first move double dig E8, so G8 is safe.
Yeah,
Maybe he's
G's
trying.
always safe for him here.
I
Yeah.
wonder if he's trying to lure some upgrading in the West. Um,
That feels like a Matt move. like a kind of meta move to make.
Yeah. I mean, it is this is interesting because if someone else take who snapped priest, yes, like Onda's got priest, and now he's gonna get to put it to air, which is really
There.
nice for him.
Hmm. And now we believe Eric is going to try to take workers and double temple genie here for Earth 2, Earth 1, and then swap it to air, is my guess.
Yeah, yeah, he could. I think he has some options. I think Earth 2 is quite likely. So,
Yeah,
and if he,
I have to imagine Eric looks at that getting to that eighth spot on Earth with what he's invested here,
yeah,
right? And so I think that probably the nicest way to do that is Earth 2, Earth 1. And
yeah,
yeah, and then he goes ahead and confirms my suspicions here, I think, with the two worker grab.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he has quite a few options, I guess, because I mean, he could take Earth 2, switch to air, take air 2. He could take Earth 2, take Earth
Yeah.
1, then switch. He could take Earth 2, water 2,
hmm
get to the
hmm
8 step that way. Yeah. So this is definitely Eric Olafson has played a ton of fan factions, at least as far as I can see. So he's definitely an experienced Genie player. So this will be interesting. I feel like Genie. This is obviously going to be they're going to kill on cult rewards,
Yeah.
but I just worry about their ability to expand and the fact that Swarmlings are going to be chasing them on cults so hard. I'm not sure if they can dominate cults, but maybe they can.
Well, one of the nice things here for Genie that I'm looking at is that they've got this very natural sanctuary town here, E7, E6, D3. They're gonna double temple here out of the gate and then get two digs here for D3, E6. It does look like Swarmlings probably finds a way to town next round. Is that true?
Swarmlings,
Yeah,
yeah, just need to find a dig.
they just need to find a dig,
And
exactly.
it's actually possible they can even do it with a hard dig.
Yeah,
So I think it's very likely that they town next round. I mean, we should note they're getting like almost no leech so far, but we
yeah.
think they're about to get a bunch of leech if Genie goes second temple.
Yeah, I think Genie's gonna go second temple and ask them the question, ask them some big question and answer here. So
And by that you mean like you like a ton of power for points.
yeah, do you want six
Yeah.
for five, I think here, right? Because he's gonna TP before Eric makes the first decision
Here
here.
we
Or
go.
no, Eric went TP here
All
before
right. So
yeah, so here's a five for
here's a
four.
five
Yeah.
for four. Boom goes the dynamite.
Boom goes the
Um,
dynamite.
so he is getting leech. I think it's almost guaranteed now that he'll town round two, which is great.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, there's going to be this little side plot of a battle between Genie and Swarmlings on the cults. I think we should note Matt has double dug G6, and I think this is something you see prospectors do. Like so, he's done 3 digs round one.
Yep.
And I think he's gonna call it a day there. The prospectors also have gaps in their worker production. Okay, so he could do one more dwelling. Sorry, he can't in terms of resources, but one more dwelling does produce, and there's a couple gaps coming up in production. But
Got it.
I think those first two TPs are actually just amazing for prospectors because their TP production goes down as you go, and
Yeah,
those
I see
first
that now.
two
I
are
see that.
they're almost a dig per round each, right?
The first one is a dig. The first TP is a dig around, yeah.
Exactly, and then those digs also get you a point and a power back. So like those first two TPs are super valuable to them, and their first temple only it doesn't even give a priest. It gives 3 coins. So that they really love riding some early TPs. Um,
The players in the chat just chirping over.
okay, so
You love to see it.
Honest used his priest for shipping, by the way. So he's not fussed about the air
Yeah.
dig. This makes sure that he gets himself going. I think that's a nice call. He had nowhere to single dig. Single dig is available, so he had no way to get his worker production up otherwise.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple things here. Interestingly enough, I would have single dug D5 if I was Swarmlings there, just to lock it in before passing with everyone having extra moves,
Oh
and then
yeah,
on. Yeah, I just think that that's probably more prudent. Now, I guess it doesn't really matter. I guess it doesn't really matter all that much. It's not the end of the world. But the because Rondo here is going to get the power to do what he wants to do. Um, Genie got insane amount of power this round, and
yeah.
I do think that Onus is supposed to 5 power priest air.
I
It's so valuable. It's the dig for 5 power, but it's also 2 workers and in 4 and 2 coins in 5.
yeah.
Feels right to do that.
It's definitely on an option. So is it? Could he? Just brainstorming what he might be thinking about. I mean, can he? Can he temple and? He can temple and single dig down another dwelling too if he wants to, because he started on worker power. Um, but I think 5 power priest is definitely an option. Um,
Yeah.
and this is like, yeah. One thing that's weird about Genie is it's hard to tell. Like usually you make plans for winning cults, but because they can use their lamps later to flip flop around, you can't really count on winning a cult because they might use a lamp later and move over
And
one of their
flop it
high.
around, yeah.
Yeah, so
And flop it around.
that I'm gonna try to keep my complaining to a minimum about fan factions because I'm not a fan faction player. But like, all right, actually, you know what? Let me stay positive. That's going to lead to some interesting stuff later potentially, but it makes it hard to game plan in advance for like, hey, I'm going to
Yeah.
go for this cult.
Yeah. Yeah, undoubtedly. And I think Ondas here probably, I mean, he's just everyone here obviously a very strong player. Ondas probably thinking about the pros and cons of a 5 power priest there, right? He doesn't go he goes ahead and does not do it. He
Mm-hmm.
also does not single dig the dwelling. And so neither case there. Uh
It might have been a moment of also like just wanting those coins that were there more than other options.
mhm, mhm.
Although I wasn't counting moves too carefully, but yeah. So and maybe he just has other like power usages that he's more excited about for next
Yep.
round.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, I mean, he's obviously thinking about um some pretty substantially quick shipping, I would imagine. Um, and then also, I mean, let's look at this first round. I mean, Ondas has got to be feeling the worst about it, I think, because of kind of how it all went down. Eric executed his game plan exactly. How we call it, we called it as soon as we saw him put 2 steps on Earth. We said, Earth 2, Earth 1. Um, feels like Eric executed his game plan, Rondo executed their game plan, less a worker, right? Having to take the tile they didn't want.
mhm.
Matt looks like they executed their game plan, and Ondas I think got disrupted from what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
If we look at that, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, on the plus side for him, he also got a crap ton of leech. He has a very like good opening from worker production standpoint. Um, and I mean, this I6 hex is super important for him, but like Swarmlings are not going to threaten it, and unless Matt is like just wants to be a punk and ding it at some point, he'll get to 3 ship. That's what he needs to connect. Um, oh gosh, yeah, his towning looks a little weird for honest. Like nothing that's happened so far is actually bad for him,
no,
right? Like
no,
ship scoring is in, so that using that priest for shipping increase instead of for air, like will pay dividends at some point here. He'll land on that. He's gonna use this cult bump to get to the 4th step on Earth, which is really perfect, right? And pre-planned for him. So like I think he'll get a bridge town in the east and
yep,
connect on 3 ship via I6. And besides that, it's a wee bit unclear. But I think in a dream world, he's getting he's building like he's hitting D1 and getting like Northwest or something like that, and doing a Northwest town or. So I think for him, it'll be an interesting puzzle of trying to figure out where town number 2 is.
I'm looking here just kind of at the scoop. It looks like a double dig onto D1 and F9 right now, likely is my guess. Um, I think D1 is so unbelievably important for green here.
Yeah.
Uh, and there's no, we don't think that Eric is double digging, but I
Oh,
probably,
holy snap! That is actually super significant because he's going to beat Swarmlings to F3.
yeah, exactly.
Ooh, wow. Oh boy.
Yeah, and I
See,
think we see here the we see here the maybe the downside of a little bit of what's happening there on the F7, and we think back to I3 and starting there, right? Like
yeah.
what different.
All of this is super safe if he starts I3 instead.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And it
he
looks
doesn't
like
get his.
prospectors can get a town here, interestingly enough as well. I didn't see that
Yeah,
was possible.
I forgot to mention that they do have a little more. They have round 2 possibilities because they can just like flow. They're a little bit like a lava faction,
Hmm.
and so they like trading posts so much, so they can kind of flow out and get to trading posts up. So that towning for them round 2 is pretty doable. I guess the downside of I3 is he wouldn't have gotten as much leech as he did in round 1. So
Maybe he doesn't want it though. Swarmlings and like wait, there's always this age-old debate, but taking a 6 for 5 and a 5 for 4 in round one for Swarmlings probably the least valuable of uh, any mega leech, right? I don't
yeah,
know. You never like to shake your head at leech, but it just feels a little bit awful.
yeah. No, I think yeah, for sure. Oh, gee golly. Sorry, I'm just looking at this Swarmling situation. It's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I do wonder. One of the things I was wondering about, and I've been debating more and more about the current meta because I've been playing a little bit, mostly async actually, just because of my schedule lately. And the new meta is economic favors. But if I was on this in this particular situation, I would have 5 power priest to air, so totally different lines. But I also would have opened Earth One here, I think. And so I'm just would love your thoughts on that one in particular, actually, because I don't know if I'm the one. He had a whole plan here, right, with the cult
yeah.
step and getting this spade, and it's going to turn out beautifully for him. But it's kind of a different. I would have gone a different path here.
And who took coins this round? I missed it. Was it Matt?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, it's interesting. I mean, he might have just been guessing that based on Swarmling's opening, Earth One's gonna sit, and so he has more option value than maybe typically. Um, but when I mean, part of what I hear you saying is if there isn't enough sort of points upside, sometimes what can happen is if you play too economically, you build out. Now you try to start scoring, but actually you've kind of like built a bunch already, and there's not enough time to like make up the points. Then we should point out there aren't any dwelling rounds in this game at all, which is
Yep.
a big deal. Um, Dig rounds. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, none of these factions are particularly well positioned to hit a dig round in a meaningful way unless I'm missing something.
Yeah.
So that's
And
not
and
really going to be a big factor. So TP round 6 can be good for scoring, but of course you don't actually want to be doing your first big batch of TP building then. You'd probably, ideally, you're doing some of that a bit earlier, and then you're doing your second round in round 6. Um, so Eirik Olafsson is just really like 3 spots on the cult, sitting on the 8 spot on air, which is the one Swarmlings are highest on. We'll see.
he'll flip it over to Earth. get
Yep.
his two digs.
Yep.
Uh, he's playing the game plan. Eric's game is exactly what I would have done in every situation so far.
Yeah.
So I'm the most familiar with kind of like where he's at. It's interesting. You know, one of the other things I wanted to say about econ versus point scoring favors is, and this is I think something that maybe a lot of people don't think about. But on fjords in particular, I tend towards earlier scoring favors because fjords tends towards higher scores overall and more leech
Yeah. Oh
than
no,
other
it's a.
maps, right?
I've been thinking about this too. Like you're saying, opening Earth One is should be more common on fjords than base because there's so
Yeah,
much
I
H.
think by a
Yeah,
lot actually. Yeah,
yeah. I don't think people account for that enough.
yeah,
Yeah, which I've been thinking about that exact thing, and actually is a little bit of a negative on fjords map for me because I like I think I kind of like games that where it's like you have to use favors to get yourself going rather than just saying, hey, we all get just like huge amount of this free resource and like, okay, I'll just go Earth One. But yeah, no, I think that's right. You know, I think I'm really curious to see where this goes now for Genie because they're gonna get 6 network points for doing almost nothing if they want,
yeah.
which is so nice. So they could, I mean, like, given that there's no late dwelling rounds and no dwelling scroll, they could play like 7 structured Genie here. Like, I don't think that's crazy because, you know, they can use the stronghold round 4 and start scoring with priest to cult. They might, you know, they may start running out of priest at some point. You know, I guess they have Earth One. I hadn't noticed that. So they probably will want to. I'm guessing they'll want to get their ship up and take like A8, C8 and try to do a third town in the northeast.
Yeah, I think a third town makes a lot of sense. I mean, the other thing they can do, um, actually, the bridge is interesting because I guess that they don't have to invest in early shipping. Yeah. I was just trying to think through like the early bridge is an economic deterrent or like a slog. I was also wondering if there's no world where Genie can just like dig a couple of those grays, like dig G4 and make the sanctuary town there, and then dig C6, like double dig C6 to get over to A8 and C8 easier.
Yeah,
Kind of a different path
I
and more
think.
of maybe what I would have been thinking. But I'm like so anti bridge.
Yeah, yeah. I think that in a world where they're getting more workers off the cult so far, then they're increasing digs earlier, and then that starts to look more interesting. I have to guess that Eirik Olafsson is thinking a lot about getting towning as soon as possible so that
Yep.
he can start protecting some cults from swarmlings. I'm guessing that's what it is. And he,
Where does Swarmlings go from here? I mean, I can kind of see exactly what the rest of the folks need to be thinking about.
yeah.
Uh, but I'm much less sure about Swarmlings, and um, I'm looking more and more at Ondus's Earth 2, thinking it's a mistake. He would have scored so much, and I don't think he ever once needed the extra economy. It's very tough.
It's a little frustrating for him. There's no dwelling scroll either.
Hmm.
So he just like gonna have a hard time getting payoff. He would have loved for like next round to be TP round, right? Like he needs it's a tricky track to play given that these factions, none of them were well set up to try to get like digging in round 3. Um, so yeah, maybe that lends itself to the Earth One round 1 route, which by the way Matt the Lesser did.
Yep.
I mean, he's looking like in really good shape. Like I think he's looking. I mean, he's gonna struggle on the cults, of course, but he's still, he's still getting cult rewards. He's still got a free priest from that the Earth Dig. He's still getting coins off the cult here. I think he's the most likely candidate. Well, it's actually interesting. I wonder if he does have incentive to give I6 a love tap at some point, because he might view Chosh as his biggest network competitors. One thing about Chosh that's like a little bit lame is like what you can see from Ondus right now. Sorry, I said I was going to stay positive. Because like in games where you don't use the little extra book ability track thing and you're not going stronghold, you're just playing like hyper vanilla and can't even increase digs. But that's all right. So okay, so he's teeing himself up for a town in the north. Ondus is, yeah, I see what you're saying. You're worried about Ondus's points, and you're kind of like,
I'm just worried about his points. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't see, big buildings into temples, into teepees. Teepees is wonderful, but I just don't see where the points are coming from, and I'm worried about that.
yeah,
And
and he's gonna have some network competition.
yeah, exactly. And Genie have their two towns set up, and Honest looks like he needs a bunch of bridges, and there's just some stuff here that feels weird. What is this? What was this C8 triple dig?
Oh wow.
What?
What?
Why were we doing that? I
I
don't
guess they just want to score.
For sure scoring. He wants to score and pass fast. That's the only reason to do that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
interesting. Okay, I mean, you did pose the question, like, what the heck do Swarmlings do now? And I think Rondo came to the conclusion that he also does not see a lot of options, and he's
Yeah.
going to just increase digs and do a little bit of digging because that's the round we're in. Next round he's going to SA for Air 1, and
Yeah.
well, then what's he gonna temple for? Yeah,
It's very, I mean, the Stormlings can still score, but they're gonna have to focus so hard on these passing tiles, and they're gonna have to focus super hard on, um, because they don't have another town coming. They're gonna want to win two cults. I still don't see how Ondas scores enough here. Although, he's got 17 workers and 11 coins next round, so his economy is just beautiful.
he's gonna
Uh,
build both big buildings. I'm guessing
Yep. Yeah, so that makes sense.
he's on the big building scroll, big building round.
And Swarmlings killed the most obvious third town for both the Genie and Prospectors. I was actually looking at that, like E9 wrap around to C7, and it seemed to me like Prospectors probably beat Genie there, but now it's a moot point.
Yeah, yeah. I think for prospectors, the other idea is like in the West, trying to figure out who's gonna build, like where Green's gonna build, and see if you can buddy up with them there. Like if
And
Green,
wrap around them, yeah.
like if Green ever builds H1, for example, all of a sudden that like you can hit G2, F1, G1 and do something there, right? Like I think that's probably. But I like your idea, the E9, because that was in the car. I mean, yeah, it's definitely an interesting idea, and now not an option. It's so tricky with no. In fairness to the players, it's a very difficult track. Like,
Oh, 100%. And
yeah.
this makes me want to play more Terra Mystica though. I'm like, I haven't been playing this much lately, and especially live, I've been playing more async, and it's just when you get into the energy, I just like, I just love this game so much. What a great game.
Yeah, because you put yourself in the shoes of these players and your brain just starts firing, right? And it's like, oh my God, yeah, you've got to be so flexible and so ready to adapt. And you have a bit of a reputation as someone who's what is it, the phoenix who comes back, out of the ashes. Like you think he's dead and he finds a way. So maybe this
Well, actually,
wheelhouse.
like our game, actually, our live game.
I was hoping that wouldn't come up. That was, oh man, at Terra Mysticon, yeah, that was unbelievable.
Dude, I get like I can't believe that everyone let me connect through the north because I was dead,
Oh, you
and
were
that
so
was a
dead.
true phoenix.
And
That was crazy.
I was like determined not to say anything. I was just like, all right, I'm not gonna say anything. Not gonna say anything. I was like, wait. Are they letting him connect? Oh my god. But it was, you know what? It was worth it because it was so entertaining. It's so memorable.
Oh, I remember the game and I remember the game versus your wife as well. It tied in the semis and the one power tiebreaker. Holy
Oh
smokes!
yeah, that was crazy. Yep,
It's a
yep,
beautiful game.
yeah. For those who don't know, Jekyll is my wife. So Chris, you were at the table with Barnawal. Who was the Endozoa? You
Endozoa and
and
Jekyll,
Jekyll,
yeah,
yeah. And you two
beautiful game.
tied. Oh
Totally
man,
insane game.
that
Yeah.
was wild. But um, so yeah, I it'll be interesting to see now what Eirik Olafsson does, right? Like, so he now has 5 priests to cult. So like this is a tricky spot. Like you can't really put more to cult, even though he's presumably gonna stronghold this round and start
Yep.
scoring on the pass with that. But then you don't really want to feed more priests to cult. But still, 5 points on the passes is nice. I
But
heard
this is a 15 point strong, 20 point stronghold here, right? And
yeah,
presumably he sanctuary strongholds here. Like I mean, Eric's game is right on plan here, if you really look at it. And he
yeah,
rightfully, I think, even again, funny enough with the Earth 2, Earth 1, the Earth 1 was partly for that cult step, but I think it's probably better than anything else he could have taken. Just, you know what I mean? Like
even if
just
he
with
stays small footprint, you mean?
even if he stays small footprint with just the insane leech that happened early game here,
Yeah,
like everything early game, like his E7 got like a bajillion, his F4 got a bajillion. I mean,
yeah,
it was just he got two for ones over and over and over and over again, all the first 2 rounds. So, I mean,
yeah,
it's just so much economy there. It's just insane.
yeah, yeah. Matt is looking really good too. So he gets the worker power action, which helps sort of rebalance him.
Yep.
Um, they have a really weird stronghold, by the way. I don't think he's gonna build it, although
What's
it
it
would
do?
be very entertaining if he does. I've not really seen it used. You get a button that gives you a coin per trading post out among your opponents,
Hmm.
and then now golden spade digging is
Only
three
cost
three
3.
coins
Yeah.
instead of 4. So who knows? Maybe he will, because I guess Swarmlings will have some trading posts out. But it's I'm guessing he won't. But yeah, he's looking. It just has seemed. He's been. I think his the amount of leech he's gotten has really cooled since early game. So I haven't been paying close enough attention to know to what extent that's been an issue for him. But he seems really comfortable. He's gonna ride an Air 1 here. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Well,
Um,
he built the temple around early, which is kind of interesting. I don't really understand that.
I'm guess he. Oh, okay, so typically I would assume that means that's where he wants his SA to be. So maybe he actually wants F6 to do an SA town.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
that could be the answer.
Yeah, and Prospector Triple Dig is not as big of a deal as other factions Triple Dig, right?
So that's my guess, is that's where he wants the SA to be. Um, and I guess the water ones are gone, so he's sort of just rolling with what he can get. Do you think he'll take Fire 2 with the Sanctuary?
I suppose he must, like the, if he is building the sanctuary, because the building, Matt's a good player. Good players make mistakes too, but Air One Temple, the Temple I think is worse economy for him overall, and the Air One turn early is just worse than the Temple next round, unless there's some reason for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and, it's just strictly worse to do this unless there's some reason to do it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I guess it gets you a little priest income. But yeah. Another thing that's kind of going for him is he could have a really wild 3-town, 1-ship connection situation, which is like very satisfying for a faction that focuses on digging.
Yeah.
It may not pan out that way, but it might. Like, um,
Truthfully, and like I don't know exactly if his economy is good enough, but he hasn't wasted a single building, and he has the 7 power town there, and so he could 4 town here if he got the neighbor, in the west, because it's not that much.
ho, 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 ho.
You know what I mean? Like you kind of look at it like F2, F1, G2, G1, I7, I8, I9, I10 when Honest comes to H8 there. He's got the
Uh-huh.
triple dig on F6, and of course he's got work to do, but it's not crazy.
Yeah, and he's gonna arguably gonna take potentially take fire 2 here, which would lend itself to going in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
It's of course unlikely, but I love the idea. And the other thing, the fact that he wouldn't need to increase ship more, hopefully,
Yeah, well,
helps
and
with
it's
that too.
and the thing is, usually when you're trying to do these 4 town things, you waste a dwelling somewhere to like get to the next body of like land, and then it makes it way harder. Now he hasn't done that here, right? So
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, dude, that's a I like that look. Even if it doesn't happen, it's a cool thought.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man, yeah. This feels like Matt the Lesser or Eirik are in the driver's seat because I think you've got me pretty convinced on the lack of Earth One issue for Chosh, and then trying to figure out where the points are. They have no inherent scoring other than going up the track, which doesn't feel like it's gonna be the difference.
Yeah, and I know, on just to his credit, very strong player again. Scored 10 points on big buildings here, plus the 8 point pass, plus he's got a water one TP, rush that's going to happen in the end game here. So, and he's already got 2 ships. Like he's got a lot. He's got more than I thought he was going to be able to get. Um,
If he can
so
if he can
pretty
hit the
impressed.
if he can hit the
Yeah.
ship pass scroll, like I think that's the key. Like he needs to be hitting the scrolls here down the stretch. Like I think to stay in this.
hmm hmm
But
hmm
he's the only one who's well positioned to hit the ship scoring pass scroll. So that should help him. And then if he can get on TP for the TP round or big building in whatever round he's not on ship scoring, which actually now that I look at it seems pretty likely that he should be able to pull that off. Just because the interest in the ship scoring seems pretty low among everyone else. I guess the exception is Swarmlings because they don't have a lot to do, so they might want it.
So, honest here is going to get just like a tremendous amount of economy again here with this like 10. He's gonna have 19 workers, 6 coins when he passes. I don't see any reason for him to stay in the round here. Right. So
Yeah.
Eric. Oh, but Eric has no reason to stay in either here, right? Um. Oh no, wait. Eric does. Eric has to switch over to air with his lamp.
Oh, it's interesting. What happens when it's at the 10 spot? So he can't switch from Earth because the 10 spot on air is taken. So I guess he'd have to switch from fire
Can
over
he
to
do
air.
it if no one's in the 10 spot? Actually, yeah, for our audience here, if Swarmlings wasn't in the 10 on air, could he switch? Or is he not allowed to?
I'm assuming as long as he has the key for it. But it would be good to get that confirmed from chat. There's some you can
Yeah, he
switch. Okay,
can.
as long as you've got the
But he
key.
can't. But he can't now, right?
Oh, interesting. You think it would go to 9, Zarito, if he goes from Earth to air right now? I mean, he wouldn't, but
He would just
that's
go from
funny.
fire, right? He may go
Yeah,
from fire to air, though.
yeah. I Zarito just had this theory that you could switch from Earth to the 9 spot on air now, but I don't think that. I think that probably doesn't make sense. I think he's just messing with me. Thanks, Scoomy Mooms, by the way. Um, Scoomy Mooms is one of our.
Passing the swap here is giving up 4 workers. That feels wrong. But actually, he can't swap back, right? So if he can't swap back, um, then he can't win fire.
That's true. Yeah, that's
But
interesting.
but 4 workers is a lot. That's like a huge amount of economy to yeah.
Yep, he's having a hard time with this decision.
Yeah, this is hard. Also, I mean that the one other thing too is if he switches, is he switching on to ship tile just to, or is he switching on to the 5 coins with the cult step? I don't even know.
I don't feel like he's in good position for ship points, so I think he's taking coins if he passes. I could be wrong about that, but I think that cult step could be helpful head to head against swarmlings on water. I just don't think he has 5 power income. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to just increase ship, I mean, if he's gonna go 7 structures, he could use next round to increase shipping and then pass. In a dream world, he takes coins plus ship, pass straight onto like TP or big building scroll floating,
Yeah.
and then builds
That
all his
that
TPs
that
round
that's got to Ondas
six.
has got to be rattled.
Yeah.
If I'm on this, I'm so upset right now because again, there's just like,
Yeah, that's brutal.
there's Ondas to H8, and so the Chash Dala 4 town dream is alive. Or sorry, the Prospector 4 town dream is alive. We just need Ondas to get down to H1. Uh, and we're cooking with gas.
Nice. Oh my god, yeah. Oh man. That's
I wonder if
fun.
Matt's even thinking about it. I mean, maybe
Well,
it's too crazy.
he took water too, interestingly. I guess he figures he's gonna temple again next round anyway.
Yeah.
Because of course he's gonna go for 4 towns. So he's
Why
gonna
wouldn't you?
temple.
Why wouldn't you? Exactly.
So maybe he's just like, let me at least get this water 2 going, and then I'll take fire 2 later. Yeah, I think if I'm Eirik, this is to me this is a 7 structure game plan where you increase ship next round, and especially if one of those 2 other scoring trolls are floating, you plus ship and get out of the round fast and land on one
Yeah.
of those, and then you just build 4 TPs, increase digs if you can, and call it a day.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I actually really like that. Is it enough? Yeah. Let's see. Matt has at least 3 more towns coming. Um,
Yeah. At least. At least. He
yeah.
at a minimum. Uh, so let's do a post round 4 evaluation. Um, uh, I think Swarmlings is pulling up the rear.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're having a lot of trouble. I think losing F3 was incredibly bad. And I think that Genie is doing too much on the cults, and it's not going to work in the way um, that Swarmlings wants. I think the Prospectors um, is still probably in the lead because they're gonna get the network scoring. Well, I don't know. Maybe no. Josh always wins network scoring, right? Because Honda's economy is so busted. Is that true? I don't know.
It's not obvious to me yet. It feels it's between those 2, of course. Yeah. Like I think one factor is like on this build both big buildings. Matt only built one, so he didn't have to spend that extra
Yeah.
those extra resources. Um, so yes, let's see. I mean, you think they're probably getting down to 2 left on their board? Josh, would you say?
Yeah, Ondas is getting down to 2 or 1. Um, I wouldn't be that surprised if he got down to 1.
I guess a big factor is like how many. You know what? He is not connected yet.
No, I know, I know.
um,
He's been floating it for a long time. I don't really understand that. Like the I6, um, it's interesting because he's got this idea here. The thing is, Ondas just needs almost no digs. He needs a bridge, a dig on A5, um, and then he's got C2, H1, I2, I6. So he's got one, two, three, four free greens. He needs one dig is five for A5. That's everything. And then yeah, that's everything, right? One, two, three, four, five. That clears him down to two temples, and he's probably just beating that. I think he's probably beyond that with what he's got, and so yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he beats prospectors.
I think yeah, and actually the fact that prospectors are doing things like triple digging to get this sanctuary town, right? That also will curb what he can get to. So
Yeah.
I think Matt doesn't try to overextend himself. He just lets Josh have network, and he'll sleepwalk to second, and he should just
Yep.
do just whatever is most efficient for him. I mean, Josh do need to finish the second town here. I would be excited for him to actually use that stronghold ability. Let me know if you see it happen.
After bonus point,
I'm waiting for some some
money,
parrot action.
It's crazy. Honest has got he's got 80 points already. I just can't believe he's hit the track so tremendously since we talked about it, and he has set himself up for a big round six as well. Like, I mean, he really hit it kind of beautifully. Maybe he's still like, 'cause I thought for sure Prospectors and Genie were gonna be pulling away, and it just doesn't seem to be the case. Locks that in. He'll hard dig A5, and then he'll swim around. Um, I mean, he should probably hit I6 right now. I6 A5, and then swim around to the other places he needs to go, and all with Earth 1 now.
Yeah. So, did Ira Olafson? He's gonna try to go to three ship here. Yeah. Okay. So he's gonna try to go to three ship, and as I was like sort of guessing, the TP scroll's floating. So
Yep.
that is a big deal for that to float for a TP round. And it's a temple round, which is like, these guys want to build some temples, but actually Swarmlings really do want to build temples because they have all their TPs built out. So
Swarmlings, I would expect to do you know, two temples here at minimum,
yeah.
and then pass. Go temple, pass here
Well,
probably is best.
I think yeah, Ira Olafson's gonna pass before him if I'm reading this right.
Yep, I think you're right as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Prospector's taking Water 3. I was actually thinking there's a little bit of a Water 3 battle here. I was thinking Swarmlings would take it.
I thought for sure, yeah. So we got the Water 3 from Prospectors. Um, yeah, it's tough.
Fire 2 for Swarms.
I think that's probably more of just a block or something.
Dude, it can't be a block. None of them have been taken yet.
I don't know. Maybe a little bit of tilt then.
I think he does have his digs up, right? So he must be thinking about next round digging out in the north. Like
Yeah, it
A10
has to be A10, B6, C9. It's five digs, but he doesn't really have it, I don't think.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Okay, well, anyway.
So the early pass from Matt. So
Wow.
That's a really early pass. He's got a lot to left, right?
Yeah, but I guess I guess his plan is to leave Stronghold and Temple on his board. So he just decided he doesn't have a ton to do. That's a huge swing. I almost wonder if Eirik Olafsson was oh, interesting.
Well, he's now Eric has no
Yeah.
incentive to pass.
Yeah, yeah. So he's gonna build out now. What a funny game, right? Like all of a sudden it's
Yeah.
like gonna end up looking very different.
Yeah, because
Um,
I mean, he would love to. I guess he's got an A8 dwelling build, a hard dig, and a genie's lamp switch if he wants it.
he's going to
So he's got 3 moves, and
it's really
On
nice.
just has more than that,
Yeah. It's really nice that
right? On just has a T.
oh yeah, 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 Andis really needs to get on that scroll. Yeah, there we go. All right. It would have been nice for Andis to get a pass scroll for both of these last 2 rounds. It felt important, but at least he'll get this one.
Yeah, yeah, and he's gonna focus on the economy a little bit here and build the TP, and I think he's gonna probably um
I guess he'll.
I don't know if he'll dig down a dwelling here or not. Probably though, there's no reason not to use the power, right? Dig down a dwelling or build one on yeah, he builds on C2.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a really interesting game for Mondas. I think getting to D1 quickly.
D1 was mad. I mean, we called the like as soon as I saw what he was doing,
Yeah,
um, the D1, again, props to him, right? I'm 5 power priesting to air, and then not having 2 ship, right? He saw that D1 was more important than anything else, and he acted accordingly.
yeah, yeah,
So like
yeah,
really, you know,
yeah,
that's beautiful.
yeah. And this map's interesting because like when you're witches, you can stronghold your way to C2 and then sort of like navigate the connection later. But when you're Orin or Chosh, you've gotta you've gotta be a little proactive to be able to get across the board like this.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, there's still a lot of resources for all these guys. Matt cannot take the coins. That's too bad.
Oh, it was I'm so sorry I lost you there. Well, I lost you there for a
Oh,
second.
okay.
Hopefully I'm back now.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I got you. Matt can't take the coins, which is sad because he could really use them. That's a pretty big
Oh
setback.
yeah.
But at
Yeah,
least
that's
he's on
a huge
this.
setback. If he had it here, it'd be wonderful for him.
Yeah,
I wonder if he regrets the water 3 and wishes he took an air 2 there. A weird late game air 2 for a worker and 4 power.
I guess
It's a,
it's 6 power. I guess because you get the 2 for going up as
yeah,
well. That's
I don't want to get
interesting. I like that.
yeah.
I like that take. I like this. Like, well, clearly, the round 5 air 2 would have been the
The
way to
round
go.
5 air 2 there gets him the coins action,
Yeah,
and
I'm
I don't think
actually. I was
yeah.
just wondering about not having fire 2 here, and the fact that he now needs to. I wonder. I mean, he's obviously doing some hardcore math. Hey, Jekyll's here.
Hi there.
Hi, Chris. I don't see
Good to see you.
Hi.
He's very small down there. Hold on, let me bring up zoom bigger. Let me bring him up bigger.
Nice to see you.
We were talking about Terra Mysticon craziness earlier.
It was fun.
Awesome
You're gonna
games.
make it again?
Yeah, I'm planning to. I haven't full committed yet, but I'm 99% in. I just gotta move stuff around.
Yeah,
Awesome.
But I don't
anybody
miss it.
watching, you gotta come hang out at Terra Mysticon. It's super fun. Yeah,
Wonderful event. Super exciting. Really love it.
and now our kids have their faces pressed up against the window over here.
Oh,
So
it's the last round. Okay.
yeah, yeah, it's been pretty. Maybe that is significant.
Are these networks really small?
Yeah, the networks are. Yeah.
Wait, is that 7 structures?
Well, Ira Olofsson did it build E3, which broke my heart a little bit because I get a good chuckle out of 7 structure games by non-Swarmlings factions. But
Fickles, the stream died. I think you guys were talking. I'm sure, but everyone lost you for the last 35 seconds or so.
oh no, okay.
Yeah, I lost you about a minute ago, and then the stream died. So I think it was on your side.
Okay. Can you, Jekyll, so do you think I should end stream and bring it back?
No.
Oh, it says we're back.
And so just said we're back. Yeah, so I think you guys just lost internet for a minute.
Sweet.
I was like, I couldn't tell where you guys went.
Okay, yeah.
But you're back.
All right. Sorry, folks. Thanks.
Hey guys, we're back.
Thanks, Endozoa. My bad.
We were just talking about the tiny networks, except for witches. Oh, that's not witches. That's Chosh.
Yep. So this is Chosh
It's a very well played job.
Yeah, but I don't think he's used his stronghold ability at all yet, and he's not increased his track at all yet. So when he does, I'm gonna go crazy. Yeah, Patrick, you're probably right. 3 casters was too much power for Twitch to handle. That must be it. Oh man.
Is he going to upgrade his track?
Too hot to handle, Patrick.
Chris and I have been like faking it so hard on our fan faction knowledge. There's no way the audience could tell. There's no way. Hey Chris, I think you're killing it. By the way, you're all over this. I'm very impressed with your ability to freestyle on the fan faction strategy.
Well, I appreciate it. You've been killing it as well. It's fun to see what the different ideas are. I mean, honest, like it's essentially playing Orin in my opinion right now. I mean, obviously there's I don't think much else has changed. And then Genie's easy to understand kind of out of the gate with this lamp thing. As soon as I knew that they were trying to get to 8. And then, one of the most interesting parts of this game was like the Swarmlings dig gambit on E8 costing them F3, right? So
yeah.
it's been a fun game to watch.
Swarmlings
And there's
decided to start F7 instead of I3, and so they took a power scroll to double dig this, and then in response, Green increases ship, builds G9 and D2 round 1, and then gets to 2 ship round 2, while Swarmlings are trying to hit a round 2 town round and builds D1 F3,
wow.
and it was just like gulp, yeah. So those were some early fireworks for sure. All right. Maybe Rondo can afford this north. He's definitely going for this north town, so he must be able to afford it.
He definitely can with the 4 priests, so he's actually got it like quite easily.
Nice.
And then, as we kind of expected, Eric pulling away with some of the from on the point side immediately here, right? But I don't know. I thought for some reason Matt had more in the tank than. No, he hasn't scored his town yet. So he does. So Matt's got 2 towns coming, maybe 3.
But Eirik has a town coming as well. So like, yeah, he's got this town and a town down here.
This is still pretty tight.
It is. It feels like it's probably Eirik Olofsson, which he won last week. Oh yeah, I don't know if you saw my statistic, but the player that wins week 2 has a 75% chance of winning the league. That was some
Pulled out of a hat?
historical analysis.
Actually?
Well, no, just my guess of historical analysis. But if Eirik Olofsson wins this, like he is seriously in the driver's seat.
And they just have so many. Everyone's got so many points. Everyone's got so many points left here. So there's still a lot of scoring left to be done.
It's true. I'll calm down.
Yeah.
So we think Ondus is taking network.
Yeah, and Eidik has none. 0 network, yeah?
No. Oh, that's a good point, actually. Is he going to now... We've got a good old-fashioned spoon fight for 3rd on network.
What about second?
Yeah. Yeah, Swarmling's trying to make it a little more. You're right.
Yeah. They're actually pushing them.
Well, Eric's got a lot of free hexes if he wants them, right? Because he's got H6 into H5 into I7. But I guess Matt always shuts down I7, but he's got H6 into H5 and A3 into A4, both of which he can reach, right? So he's got
Right.
a lot.
Yeah, I mean those would have to be 3 worker digs, but it's not impossible.
I think he just double digs, right? He takes he
Yeah.
builds his three TPs, C4, E5, D3 TPs,
Yeah.
has 4 workers left, takes a coin down, and then double digs down 4 dwellings without really much
It's an
problem,
interesting.
right?
It's an interesting. Well, it's TP round, so he wants to make sure he gets these TPs built. But doing dwellings isn't that inefficient. It's not a ton though, especially if
No, I
especially
mean, I think he gets it all.
he might be able to 3 more trading
I
posts.
think he can get it all,
Take a
right? Because that's six workers, 9 coins,
yeah
takes a coin down, and then double digs H6, A3 for everything. He gets
yeah
everything, right?
yeah may as well I guess. And you said that's 4 more dwellings down, so he finishes with 4 left on his board. Yeah, that's got to be the most efficient route.
Yeah,
I think that is the most efficient route because I don't think.
I think so.
I mean, he still finishes third on network, but regardless, I think it's good, right? Because he's got Earth 1. Um,
I'm Pickles. I don't know. I just asked the stream here. I'm losing you guys.
ah,
Um, on the internet side here.
okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You're just saying stutter sometimes. So I'm just getting a huge lag. I don't want to talk over you. I just keep getting a huge lag in your voice now on the
Okay.
call.
Yeah, we'll try to get some internet booster action going. Am I back yet at all?
You sound good right now for sure.
Okay.
So
Well, I think it might be Jekyll's Terra Mystica aura just
I
being
think
like
Jeff,
so
I think Jekyll
powerful.
is actually just taking up too much bandwidth.
Yeah,
You know?
she's like this like force, Terra Mystica force. Yeah. Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, it would be really interesting to go back and see this game with round 1, Earth 1 for Chosh. Like I don't know, right? I'm just sort of curious what that would have looked like to your earlier point.
Yeah, I mean, maybe what he did is, I mean, there he is on H1, by the way. So if prospectors take a less expensive route, they can probably. Oh, and prospectors still doesn't have fire too.
Yeah, they're gonna do this without. I mean, as soon when they took fire, when they took water 3, I think that is interesting. Are they?
How are they going to do this without fire too?
Yeah, see that. I assumed that it would involve digging H7, but I feel like the amount of coins they have in hand right now is not ideal for what they want to get done.
Where's the coins, baby? Scoomy mooms.
Yeah.
Honestly, also very nice from Rondo Rice to see that town in the north. Like,
Yeah.
nice
Yeah.
move.
That's a good point. You and I were struggling a little bit to even cook up a nice like pivot, and he found it.
Found it, yeah, he definitely found it. I didn't see any way of him salvaging, honestly, a reasonable score. I mean, I think still he's fourth here, but it was a nice, sometimes getting those like scrapping that out and on this table, I don't think it's going to be enough to avoid a fourth here, but finding a way to get third place when you're supposed to lose, it's kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he'll increase ship twice, I guess, and then pass for 12, probably.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I wonder if Matt feels good about his line.
I mean, I
Curious.
think Matt here has to. Well, so I guess can he? So fire two is obviously he can finish the touts with fire two. It's just very point inefficient. So
Yeah.
can he go TPF6, TPI10, and dwelling H7? That's like way more point efficient if he can do it.
Yeah. That's where,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Huh.
I think he actually can, right? Because but I think it requires a coin down.
Yeah. Definitely Coin Town.
But can he get three dwellings down? Can he go TP three dwellings? I guess it doesn't matter because he's not beating Josh anyway. So it actually doesn't matter at all. He can just go TP dwelling.
Yeah.
So why has Eric been delaying his town here, by the way? You know why he's been doing this?
No. Maybe he's trying to figure out what the network contest is going to be with Swarmlings.
Yeah.
Could that be it?
I suppose it must be. Like he's wondering if he needs to take an economic.
Oh,
tax.
Swarmlings can still connect. C5.
Yeah, they can. Holy shit.
Yeah, maybe he's waiting to see what Swarmlings do. Swarmlings. I mean, yeah. So maybe which suggests to me he thinks that avoiding taking Keytown is maybe desirable. And like I thought it would just be the most points regardless, because you score with Earth 1 fairly efficiently, and it helps you
Yeah.
not have to, you gain like maybe 3 on network. But yeah, it's fair question, and my interpretation of it is that he's wondering if he can take like the 11-point town instead of the coin town, but I'm not sure.
Yep. Yeah, that's what he must be checking right now. And again, Scoomy, you can do A3, A4, and also H6, H5. Because prospectors can't mess with H6 or H5 because they don't have enough to. They barely have enough to do what they want to do themselves, and so I don't think it's. So he's got A3, A4, H6, H5 for 4 dwellings if he wants.
So here comes the town. Let's see what he's going for. If Eirik Olafsson wins this, it'll be interesting to see if he gets targeted in subsequent games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Fire X is on the bye week. Fire X has a bye right now.
Oh, Hubert's on the bye week?
Yeah, he's Premier League. So,
nice.
Yep, he tied for second last week.
Nice. So I don't understand this. So Eric had power at 7 and 2. What did he use his power for?
I did not see.
Did you guys see that? Did you guys in the chat see that? What did Eric do with his power? Why did he do that? He used power for coins, but I don't understand why.
And he took the 11-point town. So he needs to TP
it
again.
appears he just used power for coins for no reason. Did you guys see that? Why did he do that? He had the coins. All he did was make his power situation less flexible. So there had to be a reason for that, right? That's so weird. He didn't need to use workers for digs. He had 8 coins. So strange. We're gonna have to figure that out later. Why did he do that?
Sometimes if you know that it's not that big a deal, you just got to be confusing to your opponents,
Yeah.
like some sort of art of war.
Naturally.
He's on another level. He's like he uses befuddlement as a weapon.
So here we're coming down to the wire here. Eric does have the big point lead as we expected. Game plan went perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
He still has a lamp left, if that matters. Probably not, but it's there to be had if he wants it. And then Yeah, and then Ondis did have a hard time getting his final score like closer to Genie's, and then Matt, I think, really just oh he's can he do it?
He just canceled his move.
Can he do it? I don't understand. You guys watching this? So can he finish this town? How does his dig thing work?
Unless it's magical, I don't think. Unless I'm missing something. Oh, okay. So he has a cult bump. That's not going to be the difference. It doesn't appear to me that he's going to finish that town. He can temple. Okay. Yeah. Scoomy says he's going to temple now for fire 2.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Hmm.
Temple for fire 2, sure. Okay. And just take, guess, Priest Town.
Yeah, it's too bad for him not to be able to finish on that. It's 3 points though not to finish on the 4 TPs, right? Which is a shame.
Yeah. So I think Matt would probably want to go back and redo a little bit of this game plan. It feels just a wee bit off kilter.
Well, it was such a wonderful game plan until he spent 20 coins in 2 moves, right? On G7 Sanctuary, F6 Triple Dig.
Yeah.
And I think that killed him. And I did not anticipate that, right? I thought he looked so robust that I was thinking about the 4 towns, right? And it was just those 2 moves just changed the course of his game, I think, a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Where he did the Temple Sanctuary in that turn, where really, he's probably just substantially better off if he doesn't do that, right? Which was, again, I did at the time it didn't seem so weird. It actually seemed a little like I liked the initiative, but just wasn't to be.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't help but think that there's another line where he's getting these last 3 dwellings down as well.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
He had such a ripping economy. It just at the very least, a different we know for certain if he doesn't go for the sanctuary town, he ends with a stronghold sanctuary on board.
Yeah.
Right. And then maybe he gets to build both of those temples in the temple scoring round in game 5 for Air 1 and for Fire 2. And then he just goes over to the west, and then his game looks a lot better.
Yeah. I guess, I think he really was determined to not do any bridge towns. And I wonder if, every once in a while in some games I get a little sidetracked where I get really determined. I have to win one cult, right? I don't like games where I don't win a single cult. And I wonder if he got a little bit of those jitters where he's just decided, I have to win water because that's the only one I can win. And I wonder if that set him back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think if he goes back, he never triple digs F6, and he doesn't build a sanctuary at all. I think you skip building the temple on G7. He built temple G7, sanctuary G7, and then triple digs F6 all in that turn. I think that's where instead maybe you double dig G2, or not even. You just go over to F2, F1, build your dwellings there.
Yeah.
Bridge from G8 to I7.
Yeah.
And then build both the temples in the temple scoring round. Forget the sanctuary ever existed, and you're in a better spot.
Yeah. I think that's the line I had in mind. But again, it's easy to be like, armchair experts. Who knows? Maybe we're wrong. But yeah, Jeesh Olafson, he brought the heat.
Bringing the heat, and I guess we were wrong here too. Ondas is a little short of this last one, and maybe he wasn't actually short. To be fair, maybe he wasn't short. Maybe he didn't need it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's possible. So yeah, he's gonna win, and he's doing well here. Are we sure that prospectors are beating him?
Are we sure that prospectors are beating Ondas?
Yeah, because like
No, I don't think so. I think Ondas has. I think
yeah.
Josh has Matt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's. Well, I hate doing this because you obviously can calculate it and then not look like an idiot in front of the here. But I do think that it's. I think that it's Genie, Josh, prospectors.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think prospectors here gets the town scoring, but I don't think that it's enough here to overcome Chach beating them on network, and then also being a bit ahead on the Colts. I think overall, or at least even on the Colts, and then they're both passing, right? So it's pretty close, but I do think it's.
That's interesting.
I do think it's Josh, and Swarmlings ties prospectors here on. No way, do they really?
So prospectors are going to build one more dwelling right now.
Oh, they have F2. They have F2. Yep.
Yeah. But that's wild that it was close, because he did take the C5 route, which means old Eirik is not getting any network points.
Yeah.
Just kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, I think he blundered it actually. I think he took the 11-point town when the coin town even our town does it for him because he can H6, H5 and double dig, which he did not do, right? So he had
I wonder if he was worried that someone would mess with him or something. I don't know. I'm just curious, because it is sitting right next to H5, sitting right there next to prospectors. I mean, I think it didn't feel to us like he had any resources to spare, but I wonder if he just got a little worried about disruption or something.
It's so hard to see that in game. Yeah, and I mean, obviously he took the 11-point town, so it's not a big blunder, or is it a big blunder? He gets 4 more points of dwellings, 6 less points of town. So he's down 2 points, but then he gets to 13 on network, which is meaningful. Yeah, it's 9 points better. Yeah, so it was a big mistake actually. I think he still has it here, but it's a 7-point mistake for Eric here.
It's possible that he just decided, I think I have it either way, so I'm just going to be a little bit conservative, right? Like sometimes you can have 100%. A sense of the margin, and you think, why extend myself at all, and like open myself to any downside risk if I think I can lock it in.
Yep. Yeah. No. 100%. And there is. I mean, right. There is some of that downside risk there. So. Makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense to just go for the 11 there. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's easy. It's also easy for us to see from the sidelines.
Yeah.
We're looking so closely at Matt's game throughout, just to understand that he's like really tight on his end ring resources there. So
yeah. So we do have Ondas squeaking. Matt with getting him on network being the difference for them. Wow. And Olafson had Eirik Olafson, really nice game. We should say huge thanks to everybody hanging out with us and tolerating. I'm just back from Finland. Chris is just back from Kenya. We're all over the place. But that was super fun. And Chris, so fun hanging out with you. I think this is our first time casting together, which is wild.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love doing this. It gets me energized about the game. I'm always happy to do it. Thank you for organizing.
For sure.
Invite me back. Invite me back and get me more exposure to these fan factions.
Yeah,
But no, I love
I'm
it.
the
Thank you so
guy.
much for having me.
I'm the guy who's like needs to turn on tooltips to figure out what the rules are. But yeah, huge, huge thanks to everybody here. Nerdcube wants to know which top TM player you were visiting in Canada.
My wife and I were doing a safari in the company that I run. We opened an office there, so I combined some work and play together, which was really nice. And yeah, we got to get some Kenyan TM players out there.
That sounds like a good plan. I think
I'll have to do some
I think he's
spy.
referencing. I had a conference in Finland and then connected with Zevok. Jekyll came with me, so we hung out. We hung out with
Nice, that's
Zevok.
beautiful.
So that was super
That's
fun,
amazing.
and yeah, so that was a blast. But hey, big congrats to Eirik Olafsson, also to Andis for like really making something out of that tough situation. He's in the mix because he tied for second and second, so like he's definitely hanging around. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Thanks everybody. Until next time.
Thank you guys.
See ya.